All right. Oh,
There,
oh, there we go.
you
It's like,
black
don't.
again.
I was
No,
like, don't do this
I
again.
can't
I'm black again.
see you.
I'm still black.
Yeah.
We not doing that.
Maybe this time I won't send a request and let's see what happens.
Okay.
I'll wait for you to send the request.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you? Are you able to jump out?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. It's like I can see you for a split second, but as soon as we like do this, okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna close the app and then
And try to come
come
back
back.
in.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why Instagram trying to fuck with us. We gonna get this message through. We don't give a fuck if y'all try to stop us or not, cause you can't. What's up, Cosmic Phoenix? We trying to get it together. Instagram playing with us, child. All right. Instagram is.
Oh shit,
Okay.
that's the wrong way. Oh well, I don't know.
You still can't see
No,
me?
it's doing something weird. Like as soon as I can log in and I see you fine, and then when I accept the request, it does this weird thing where it pauses, it pauses, and then
Mm.
when it comes to, it's literally just me, and the up top is black. So
Ugh. All right, try one more thing, but go log out and then send the request to add into the live, and then if that don't work, then I guess we'll just go with it.
okay, we'll just do what we did. We did this
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Don't let me
we
do,
did it
right?
before.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay. Instagram, really? Mm-mm. No commercials. Okay, Naima, let me. I don't know. Let's try that. Kayla, what's up, friend? Oh, I got this Cosmic Phoenix. It's called tabule. I don't know how you pronounce that, but I get it from Publix. It's like this parsley mix. That shit is bomb as fuck. I'm addicted to it. So good. And what you cooking? Yes. That shit is so bomb. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait. Except this shit is ghetto. Trying our lives. Mm, mm, mm. All right, Naima, we just gonna have to. Damn, Naima won't even let you join. Okay, send a request. Go live with. Okay, let's try that.
Yeah, it's
Same
it's
thing.
very weird. Yeah, but whatever.
Oh,
I just can't see you, so
all
that's
right.
it.
Go ahead. You got to use your imagination. Yeah, we got to see. That's why we gotta find a streaming service because this is bullshit. Ain't nobody finna
Yeah.
do this.
Well, we gonna see how the StreamYard works. So
Yeah, we
it's
gonna
a
try that
prototype. I
out.
haven't been back in it since.
I
So
know. I know.
this is crazy.
Well, anyway, guys, we're gonna go with it because even though Instagram trying our fucking lives tonight, um, Welcome to an elevated experience. This week we're going to talk about the dark night of the soul. I'm excited to talk about this. And peace to everybody that joined. Heart Healer, Cosmic Phoenix, Kayla. I don't know if you're still in here, but peace everybody. We're going to
Peace.
tap into this conversation. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So you want to start this or you want me to start? I actually want to I want to read the definition of the dark night of the soul
Oh yeah,
first.
that'd be a great way. That'd be a great way to start.
I should have had this, but I just feel like I need to read the definition because I didn't know what this was until I actually experienced it.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so this particular, all right, I'm gonna read this one. It says the dark night of the soul is not merely having a bad day or even a week. The dark night of the soul is a long, pervasive, and very dark experience. If you're experiencing the dark night of the soul, you will constantly carry around with you a sense of being lost. Your heart will always, in some shape or form, be in mourning. And this is because you long deep down to feel the presence of your soul again. So basically, that's one of the definitions of the dark night of the soul, and it's basically this period that you go through on your spiritual journey where you just don't feel connected to yourself anymore.
Mhm.
And I guess I'll start, and then I'll let you tell your experience, Naima.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say like a year in, maybe like a year and a half, almost 2 years in my when I started waking up and like tapping into my spiritual growth. I went through this like depression, and it was like a real, like you said, it was like a pervasive depression. It was, and nothing was wrong. Like I normally can like figure out what's wrong when I'm depressed. Like, oh, I ain't got no money, or oh, I just had a bad breakup, or things just ain't going right in my life. Like that wasn't the case. Like everything in my life was going externally was going good. Like I was making hella money. I was traveling every week with my job. I was just starting my like spiritual journey. Like everything externally was looking good. I had my own space. Like everything was good. Everything that I like and feel comfortable in was good.
Mhm.
But I just started feeling really disconnected and depressed. Like it's like nothing I did made me happy. Like I was drinking, I was trying to meditate more, I was trying to write, I was trying everything. Like I was just traveling, I was trying to be in nature, like nothing worked. I was like constantly depressed. And this went on for like 2 months. And I just didn't know what was going on. And I was like, Spirit, what the fuck is going on? And this is on like a year in of my spiritual journey. So I wasn't really that tapped in. I was tapping in, but I wasn't that tapped in like I am now.
Mhm.
So I remember just being frustrated, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just move out of the country. Just because this is my Aries spirit. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just move out of the country. Maybe I don't want to be in the United States anymore.
Mhm.
So I basically packed up my shit, moved to Italy. And like 2 months in, it was in the beginning it was kind of cute, and then I went back into that depression, and I was like, okay, all right, this ain't
Yeah.
it. I'm just gonna fucking.
Change of
I saw,
environment wasn't it? So you got to
yeah,
go
it
deeper.
wasn't
Yeah.
it. It wasn't that. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I was like doing some research. I was like, all right, I'm gonna move to Bali because I wanted my little eat, pray, love experience. So I was like, maybe I need that.
I read that book.
So,
Oh my God.
so I went to Bali, and while I was in Bali, I actually figured out what it was because when I got there, I put myself in a space where I did nothing. So I wasn't working, and Bali's like hella cheap. So I didn't really. I took my U.S. money and I just like set up a space where I didn't have to do anything. So I basically was just like walking around, doing yoga, eating great food because the food was so good. And I went through like this experience where I had like a shaman like cleanse me with in the waterfalls and stuff like that. And like
Oh,
even that didn't really work. And it kind of hit me towards the end, and I was like, I came across this guy on YouTube that was talking about the dark night of the soul, and I
mhm.
started doing research, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm experiencing, and it made me feel so much better because I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And now that I had a name for it, I was like, okay, I'm not going crazy. So I started doing more research. I actually did a reading with this guy that quote unquote specializes in the dark night of the soul. But it didn't really, that didn't really hit either.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, it didn't really hit. Like he was giving me stuff and he was telling me about it, but it just wasn't hitting.
Yeah.
So, I finished my time. I spent like another couple of months in Bali and then I came back to the States. And I didn't really get through that until I like surrendered. And afterwards I realized that what it was is that the old me that I thought that I was like dying. And I was like stepping into this new space of being spiritual or like really finding out who I am spiritually and like connecting and being that. So I was actually going through like this grieving process. Like now I can like look back and see what happened. At the time I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But I was going through like a grieving process of like letting go what was old. I actually was kind of like disconnecting from, I had a spiritual reader at that time. I was like disconnecting from that. And I was learning how to depend on more things internally. So I
Mhm.
had to like start feeling internally and going internally because before everything I was doing to please myself or make myself happy was external. Like the travel and buying shit and
Yeah.
just doing the most like to make myself happy. And that was kind of like a turning point of me going internal and starting to focus on how I actually feel. And like I think me and you had this Naima, we were talking about this like I started having like these spoken word. I would like wake up in the morning, that period where you're like half sleep, half awake,
Mm-hmm.
and like all this spoken word would just come out. And I was just like, oh shit, like I need to write this down. Like this sounds like really, really good.
Yeah.
And I started writing all this stuff. I actually, it was a period when I was in Italy. I actually wrote a whole book just about travel, like how to
Oh,
travel.
wow. That's so
Um,
good.
it was just like flowing out. And I think it was because I was learning how to tap into my internal self
Mm-hmm.
instead of like focusing so much on externally. That was the worst. I think that was probably the worst or the hardest or the deepest dark night of the soul. I've had a few more that were
Mm-hmm.
lighter because when they came again, I knew how to deal with it. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I really gotta, when it comes, I just gotta surrender because I'm changing. Now I know that I'm changing into a new person. I'm like letting go of an old self and stepping into a new self. So I'll just surrender. I'll just let go. And then it went by a little bit faster and a little bit easier. But in the beginning, I didn't know. Like, I just thought I was depressed as fuck. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I want you to talk about, yeah, they don't heart healer. They don't tell you that it's more than one because I thought there was just one. And everybody that I was looking up on YouTube said that it was like this one. They was talking like it was this one big
So I did
thing.
one thing.
Yeah,
Like
this
this
one
one
thing
time
you
in my
gonna get
life.
through it. Yeah, you gonna get through it, and then you're gonna be all spiritual and healed and everything. After hell, no, that shit do not go like that. So, but anyway, go ahead, Naima. I want you to talk about your Dark Night of the Soul experience.
Okay, well, mine was completely different, and so far I've only had one,
Mm-hmm.
and mine was completely different from yours. Like how you said everything was fine, you were going through life fine, you was making
Mm-hmm.
money, like no worries, everything was good.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was the complete opposite, and so the I actually shared a meme today where we're talking about the Dark Night of the Soul, and I shared it because that particular definition aligned with what happened with me, and
Mm-hmm.
so. Like it's so tough. I try to come out. So like how you were saying, like when you're starting your spiritual journey, like that's kind of what happened to me. I was starting to tap in
Mm-hmm.
spiritually and like just lead like a spirit led life.
Mm-hmm.
Answering the call to the spiritual path. And along that, as that was happening, like my like friendships were breaking down. So it's like I lost some friends. My marriage at the time was breaking down,
Mm-hmm.
and like my mom ended up passing away.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was a lot,
Damn.
and it wasn't like one thing or for a couple of weeks. My dark night of the soul was literally like a year or two. Like it was like a year and a half. It was a long time because all these things, every single thing that I went through, it grew me at the same time. So like when
Mm.
we were talking earlier and you were talking about how Dark Night in the Soul and shadow work kind of
Mm-hmm.
goes hand in hand. Like it truly does.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time of this of me going through all of these things, I didn't know that it was a dark night of the soul. For one, I just was like, damn, I'm going through all this stuff. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I was doing some shadow work, but I didn't know that that's what it was either. So
Right.
remember, when I started my journey, like what was it like? 2019 when I like answered the call to to the spiritual path. It was 2019, and all of 2020 was like when all these different things was like happening back to back, like losing friendships, my mom passing. It was just like a lot, marriage, and then all of this was going on, and I had just started my spiritual journey. Layering and to go back to what I was saying earlier about the shadow work, it was like my spirituality was getting me through all these things because I was taking like a shadow work approach. You know what I'm saying to it? Like
Mm.
every time something got to me and I was just like, what the heck is going on? I would go sit at my altar space and connect, meditate, journal, and really get to the nitty gritty root of why I was triggered in the first place. Because
Mm.
there's a lot of stuff going on. I ended up finding like new friends, and then at some point in that new friendship circle I was rejected, and I was like, why am I feeling like this, and I had to get to the root of like, why am I feeling rejected, and that was like
Mm.
a whole thing. And I mean, I cried. It was a lot of crying it out. Like
Mm.
I had to learn about like self-worth, like all these different like dark night of the soul experiences like was teaching me something about myself. So definitely like self-worth was one of them. I mean, and then like learning how to be independent, like it was like all these different things that
Mm.
happened because like I said, I my mom passed, and then like my marriage ended, so it's like, and then my dog died, so it's like I
Damn.
left my independence. You get what I'm saying? Like, so not only did
Yeah.
I have grief from my mom, and when my mom passed, because nobody knew what was going on with me, I was kind of like suffering in silence in regards to my
Mm.
ex-marriage. So
Mm.
I was like doing all the things to not even deal with that. I was really consumed with like dealing with my mom. So when the shit hit the fan and I ended up leaving my ex-husband, not only did I have now that I have to deal with this loss, right? Because that is a loss. That's somebody I was with for like 8 years of my life. So
Mm.
that's a loss, right? So I now have
Mm.
to deal with this on top of now living in my cousin's, bedroom. So that's like loss of independence. And then a couple months later, like I said, my dog had died. So here I am with literally no responsibility, and it's literally just focusing on me. So now I have to rediscover who I am. So this is why like
Mm.
all these different things that was happening was like literally trying to grow me and develop me into like who I am today. So it's just like when they talk about Dark Night of the Soul, it is a multi-layered thing. It is not
Yes.
something that is like 1 to 2 weeks or a couple months. It can be very long.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
think ultimately too, the length of that can depend on how
You.
you do or how you are doing your work,
Yep.
right? So, like I
Yep.
said, when my mom passed and I was going through the shit with my ex-husband, I was like, I had my spiritual like foundation, but I wasn't like super, super tapped in because I was like, it was just too much. It was too much. It was too much. So I couldn't deal with all of that in one sitting. I had to like, well, I'm gonna deal with this, and I'm gonna just have to deal with that. So it's like my shadow work was literally only for like one thing, like so I said
Mm.
it depends on how you approach it, but
Right.
whew, even then, like it's not like a walk in the park, and like they said, like Heart Healer was saying, there's more than one.
Oh
Like you can have
yeah.
more than one. But I
Oh
love
yeah.
what you said about that. Like you had other ones, but because you had the first one, you knew how to navigate. Not that it was easy, you just knew what it
Right.
was and knew how to navigate through it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that it's funny that I both of our Dark Nights of the Souls were like two totally different
See? Yeah.
situations, and I feel like it depends on. I feel like spirit knows what to give you in order to make you
Yeah.
grow. Because with me, specifically, and it's just like totally different. Like I don't even know like the level of stuff that you went through at one time. I don't even know I don't even know how I would have handled that. Like, I wouldn't have looked at that as a dark night of the soul. You know what I mean? Like, I would have looked at that as, I would have never connected those dots.
Mhm.
Um, but it's almost like Spirit had to show me, like, I'm gonna give you, in a way, like, I wasn't super rich, but I was really making really good money. In a way, like, I had to be separated. Like, let me show you, I'm gonna give you everything you thought you wanted, and you still not gonna be happy because
Mhm.
it's not about
Right.
that. So it's like all of that, like, and that was a real hard lesson for me to learn. And like you were saying, I felt like the more I fought against that, the longer the process kept going. It's like it went deeper and deeper, and like I got more depressed and more depressed, and
Yeah.
like just it's just like nothing else would work. And I think I remember, I'm gonna keep saying this, but like Professor Melanie said, like this shit like makes so much sense now. It's ringing in my head so much these days. Is knowledge plus understanding equals power. And it was
Yeah.
me getting all of that knowledge at the time and like reprogramming my brain about spirituality, which I had like I went from 0 to 100 on spirituality.
Mhm.
Like being
I feel you.
completely disconnected, growing up, as a Christian, and then like just wanting something more, and then just jumping right into like working with the priestess and like connecting to all of this stuff and getting all of this new knowledge and like, whoa, this whole new thing of spirituality. And
Yeah.
then me not necessarily understanding it, but just like wanting to tap into it more. And then I
Yeah.
felt like that was the breaking point of like, all right, you ready to tap into it? Spirit was like, well, let me actually show you. Let me start you the
Yeah.
process so you
Yeah.
can actually start tapping into it.
You had a thirst for it.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
let me show you. Now
Like
let
let
me
me,
show
yeah,
you.
you want
You
you
still
want this
thirsty?
shit? All right, here it go.
You still
Let me throw
thirsty,
you
boo?
in there. Let me throw you in the water real quick since you want to be spiritual. Let me throw you in the
Yeah.
spiritual waters. And I was drowning like a motherfucker.
Yeah. You got.
So
Yeah. Hmm.
but it's just to bring it back to what you were talking about. I feel like spirit puts us in these places so that we can start to focus on what's real
Hmm.
and focus on like what true spirituality is, because it's not. So what's the word? I remember one of my spiritual teachers told me this, is that she said something like you can't take this shit like a Kim Kardashian. um it's like, you know what I mean? It's not something that you can like fake. Like
Yeah.
this shit is
Yeah.
real. Like
It's not
this
a walk in the
energy is
park.
is
It's not
not
a
a
walk
walk
in
in
the
the
park
park. It's
at all.
yes,
And there's people that
exactly.
make it look like it is. First of all,
Yes, that
to
exactly.
maintain a high vibration, to stay in a high vibration, right? To
Hmm.
be happy, to find the happiness in something. That shit is hard to not be
Hmm.
triggered by people and they
Hmm.
bullshit. The idiots that be
Hmm.
driving on the road. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like to not be triggered by people and their comments and their remarks. That
Yeah.
is heavy work.
Yes.
Like it's not easy trying to be like to see things from a positive perspective. It's not easy to try to like
Hmm.
maintain a high vibration. That's why we fall down sometimes because and then we have to get back up, you know,
Yep.
so like climb back up to that. But
Yep.
yeah, it is not easy.
Yeah, and just like Creative Ruler said, like on a daily basis, I was actually, while you were saying that, I was thinking like not only do you have to go through all of that, but you have to catch it moment by moment. Like like if you're in the car and you're going through road rage, like you gotta say, okay, you gotta deal with the fact that you in the car and driving and there's traffic that's actually making you feel a certain way. Then you gotta go inside of yourself at the same time, go inside of yourself and be like, okay, why am I so upset right now that these people are not driving fast enough? Like, what am I rushing about? Like, it's like you have to go through all these processes and
Yes,
you have to catch it at every moment. And like,
multi-layered.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yes, multi-layered. That's a good analogy. It's very
Yeah.
multi-layered. And it's like you have to do, and it's like multitask. You have to like multitask in that shit.
Mhm.
You have to live life, deal with this external shit, and at the same time, you inside of yourself, like with this whole battle going
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean? Like fighting the whole battle inside of yourself. Like, nah, I'm not thinking like this anymore. Like, no, let me think higher. Let me raise my vibration. Like all this shit. And sometimes you win, sometimes you
Yeah.
lose, and then the battles you lose, you got to go back and figure out how you lost, and then like raise that. Like, it's just a conglomerate of a
Yeah.
lot. But excuse me, I feel like you start to master it. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from the past. You learn how the places where you messed up and the places where you missed, the more information you get, you know how to go back and apply it.
Mm-hmm.
So that when it happens again, you're like, okay, like even for example, today I was driving in traffic. Just to go back to your example, Naima, because I think you like connected me with me on that. And like, I'm trying to get somewhere, and I'm like speeding, and I'm like, yo, get out of the. And I'm like, Justin, why are you rushing? There's no reason for you to rush.
You gotta
Why are you mad at these
check
people? Like
yourself.
I'm checking myself. I'm talking to myself. Like, what are you rushing for? Because you're gonna risk killing yourself for what? You're gonna risk
Yeah.
getting a ticket for what? Like, what is that worth? That's not worth wherever you're going.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like me being able to say that to myself now versus like 5 years ago is like I know is a big growth. Because before I would have got caught in that energy, and I would just went even faster and got even more madder and want to yell out the window even more, and then just like for what?
Yeah.
For what?
But I love
So
that you're able to, that's the beautiful thing about being on a spiritual journey and like gaining wisdom along the way, because we're able to check. And it's another thing, we're able to check ourselves from a space of grace too and love. Like, so it's like we are not getting mad at ourselves, we just checking ourselves. You know, it's a difference.
yes,
Like, it's a
exactly,
different way how you
exactly,
speak to yourself, you know? Like,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. And I
absolutely. It's all.
like I wanted to share too, like when we're doing okay, so when I found myself at one point along the journey, because remember I didn't know that that's what I was going through at first, the dark night of
Mm-hmm,
the soul. And so I'm
mm-hmm.
like, in the YouTube rabbit hole,
Yep.
going looking, through all the stuff, you know what I mean, y'all, all the stuff, right? And I came across somebody talking about the dark night of the soul, and I'm looking in the comment section, and I'm just like, dang, like I didn't go through that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I didn't go through that. Like, so for example, when I said like I left my ex and I moved in with my cousin, I was technically not technically, but I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm.
on paper I don't have like an actual residence
Oh,
that with my name on it for mail, right?
right, right,
But somebody else might actually be homeless and experience like being out like on the street or like living in their car. So like you said
right.
earlier, it's whatever spirit has for
Mm-hmm,
you that it is that you need to learn and go through,
mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm,
it also made me think about like I feel like my dark night of the soul was a emotional hit. Like it was really, really emotional for me. And
mm-hmm.
everything is pretty much always all connected in different ways, like the emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual bodies, like they are kind of like intertwined. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like one anchor or one pillar of that usually is the more dominant, right? Is you feel it the
Right,
most. And so for
right.
me, like mine was super emotional, like losing friends, like
Mm-hmm,
like oh, like that hurt. And then to be like betrayed like by my ex, like that hurt. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Like losing my, it was like
mm-hmm.
emotional. Like I just felt like I can't take it anymore. And remember, my big three, sun, moon, rising is all water. So it's
Water,
like
yeah.
I remember you asking me on another live, like I forgot what we were talking about, but you're like, because you're all water like that, how do you navigate stuff? And and in this conversation, it made me think about that. Like mine was super, super emotional, more so than
Mm-hmm,
mental and
mm-hmm,
physical. Yeah, it
mm.
was really rough. Woo, it was hard.
Good point. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. Yeah, because I feel like mine was learning to because I got double fire and then air, I had to
Mhm.
let go of doing and everything. It was all in the head because and one of the things that I wanted to do in the dark, one of the things that was my, I guess, reaction of the dark night of the soul when I didn't know what was going on is to do something. I wanted to like, okay, what else I got to do? Like, okay,
Mm,
I'm not studying hard enough, or
mm,
I'm not doing something more. Like it's almost like I wasn't doing enough to be good enough.
uh,
And then I was always in my head like, okay, I'm gonna read this book, and I'm gonna read that book, and I'm gonna read that book. And it wasn't about studying anymore. It was just about like surrendering. I want to bring up because when you look up the Dark Night of the Soul, it just brings up all of these pictures. I don't know if
mm,
y'all can see this, but it's like
I
And this
can't
is
see nothing.
I'm describing to you. Use your imagination. But okay, this is one. Um, so it's so this guy basically is like in a like down in the bottom, like in a cave, and like there's only this little bit of light. And like I said earlier, like I feel like we go through external stuff, but inside there's a whole different movie going on. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like when I was going through my dark night of the soul, like I said earlier, externally everything was like lit. It was because I had went through that period already. But now internally, that's how I felt. I felt like I was in this dark space and I could not find any light.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to actually become the light that brought me out. Um, I had to look at myself. I had to connect with myself in order to bring me out of it. And I would say it took me like 4 or 5 months to get out of that. And the periods where it was dark, dark, dark is because I kept trying to do stuff. I kept trying to think my way and do my way out of it. And it wasn't about that. It was about knowing that, because one thing I will say is that I had to learn my worth, like that I'm worthy
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm good enough. Like that's always been one of my hard challenges is knowing that I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
just
yeah.
didn't feel like I was doing enough to be good enough to be spiritual or be anything. And I really went in that space and that's when the spoken word started coming out. That's when, I started connecting more a little bit with my spirit and able to like meditate a little bit deeper and realize that it's not external. Like, okay, this is a light inside of me. And then like slowly but surely I started peeping through that light and then I was able to like bring myself out of it because I was focusing in on that which was me and not
Yeah.
the external
You.
stuff.
I'm gonna just show it right now because I'm gonna look for it because you are reminding me. As soon as you said that, it reminded me of this freaking card. I'm gonna find it and show it to you.
The card queen, you the card queen, I'm
And
telling you.
it just made me think of it. I'm like, oh, I got to. It's just perfect. Like it make no sense. Like I immediately went to this and I'm like, oh, I'm about to show him this.
You
I
got
will
the
find
card, you the
it.
card queen.
But
Armani said, I can't believe I forgot IG class tonight.
oh my,
Yes, IG
I don't know if
class.
she was in the last class, but we back to square one where I couldn't see. I
Can't see,
couldn't see
right?
nothing. So I'm blind again, y'all. Going
Been working
blind
on your third eye, honey, making you not
for
see.
real. I can't see nothing.
And nobody would ever be able to tell. I know I can't tell.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, I guess because you
This
got
is
to go
it
at
right here. Look at this. So this is the Hermit card in this particular deck. So
Ooh.
if you think about the standard tarot, it's like an old man with a stick, and he walking. He has a light, like
Yep,
a lamp, in front of him, guiding him.
yep,
But you
yep.
see, she put the lamp down. This person put the lamp
Mm,
down and kept going on the journey and found the light within. You see
mm,
that? So
mm,
when you said that, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's you. That is you right there. You found
mm,
the inner light.
mm.
You know where the
Mm-hmm,
light comes from within you, and you
mm-hmm,
shining, and it's emanating from you now. Like,
mm.
woo, yes,
Ooh, connection. That
yes.
is
That's exactly what that
beautiful.
was.
Mm. Well, I mean, since you got the cards out, I guess we'll go. I
Now you
mean,
need
you
to tell.
started it. I guess we'll go ahead and get into it then.
You funny,
Since
then.
you pull the cards out, then I mean, I guess we could get into it. Um, so we'll continue to talk,
Yeah,
but I guess we'll open up the
we
space for
continue to
y'all.
talk.
If y'all want to ask any
Yeah.
questions, you want us to pull cards for you, let us know. If not, we could. I do like that Pierre asked last week for us to do like a collective. So maybe if nobody like asks questions or we have time, I do want to pull like maybe for this week because I feel like this week the energy has been different, just like a collective for the week. Um, also because I didn't even realize this, but Thursday is Thursday is Jupiter's day, so it's like an expansive day.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wanted to like pull for the collective if nobody had any questions,
Yeah.
but we're gonna give y'all time to like ask
Yeah, but
questions if you want to
I'm
ask
glad you
questions.
talked about Dark Knight of the Soul because that's like a real thing, and it's the crazy thing is I feel like all the stuff that people go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who don't consider themselves spiritual, right? They like
Mm-hmm.
your regular, folk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is going through so much. Everybody going through their own stuff. But
Yep.
if they were able to maybe see it from a spiritual perspective, the spiritual
Perspective.
lens, they'll probably be able to navigate those obstacles like much better. Like one of the
Mm.
things that I've learned about the Dark Night of the Soul is to take things that I am faced with and to change the mindset around it.
Yes.
I'm sure you heard this before, the whole why is get away from why is this happening to me and look at it as why is this happening
For
for
me.
me, right?
Yes.
Yes. So
Speak.
ever
Speak.
since like I have went through all that stuff, like being on this path really taught me to look at things from that way. And that is like one
Mm-hmm.
of the ways, I think that's one of the easiest ways to shift out of like a low vibrational state, right? Like
Yes. Yes.
something just happened, whatever it is. Damn, I just lost my job. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going into like, and I'm not saying we won't have that. Definitely honor your emotions where you
Yes.
are, but
Yes.
find the time to pick yourself up and then, okay,
Yes.
what is it teaching me?
Yes.
Like, why did it happen for me? Maybe because deep
Mm-hmm.
down inside, you really want to start, I don't know, a 7-on-7 football team, like
Mm-hmm.
you might want to do
Mm-hmm.
that, like, or
Mm-hmm.
start your own like wood shop studio or something because
Yep.
you're really creative and you know
Yep.
how to create these cute little objects that people want to put in their homes, So it's
Yep.
like
And you
you
never
never know.
would have found that if you wouldn't have got fired from your job. If you
Right,
never would have discovered that.
exactly. So Amani
Creative
said a
rule.
few days ago I had a dream that I was in a two-story house and the outside of the back of the house was flooded above the window line while the front of the house was a crazy
Ooh.
rainstorm. Ooh, are we about to decode
We
dreams right
about
now?
to decode. Hold on, hold on. I want us to go back. We're not gonna skip creative ruler real quick. We gonna
Oh,
get to you, Armani. Hold on. But
oh,
creative ruler
somebody
said
said
she thinks
something.
she's going to the dark night of the soul. Okay. I want to, yeah, lots of emotions, creative ruler, but I wanna address that really quick because I wish I had this when I was going through the dark night of the soul. So I definitely want to give you a little bit like some tips. Maybe we could pull a card for her, Armani, because that's dark night of the soul is rough. Like it's
Yes,
really rough. And
yes, okay.
I will say that yes, we'll pull a card for you, but the dark night of the soul is one of those things where only you can pull yourself out of that. Like it don't matter what we say or what happens externally, only you can pull yourself. That's your journey, boo. That's that's
I feel like I
that's
need
what
to
I had to learn.
yeah, I feel like I need to pull a card that like an angel card. So let me find my angel
Okay.
deck.
I pull from my fairy deck too, because that's a more lighter deck. Um, but yeah, creative ruler, you just surrender. I don't know if you were here to hear that part, but like you really have to surrender because you're going through this big deep internal change. And it's just, I feel like it's adjusting you to the space of all the information and the knowledge that you've gathered. Like your internal self is starting to or maybe your brain is catching up with your spirit now or something like that. Um, but you got to surrender to it. Like don't fight it. Don't try to, because I think creative ruler, you got some fire in your chart. Are you like an Aries or something? You got some fire. You got some fire somewhere. I know that for sure. But don't. And me, the Aries, when I was going through I wanted to fight it like a motherfucker. Don't fight it. That's a horrible idea. You gonna lose that fight every time. But we gonna put some cards and then money. We gonna get into your dream. Look,
Yeah, I want
Sag
yeah.
rising, Leo moon. I knew it. I
Oh,
knew
I
you.
knew I knew it was Leo in there too, but I didn't know where.
I knew you had some fire
Feeling Leo.
because you don't be fucking around. I see your energy. Mm. So I pulled this is I call this the fairy deck, but you got humor and flexibility. I was just talking about surrendering. Gentle flow, gently flow through the turbulence. Life has the ability to shape you. Bend, don't break. I mean, we literally just said that. And then the humor, laugh at yourself, lighten your heart, let nothing steal your happiness. Like that, if I could say anything, that go with the flow, surrender. It's like she's a mermaid. And this is all connecting because even Armani talking about this water. This is all actually connecting in. But you can see like she's a mermaid in the flexibility, like she's going with the flow. Bend don't break. Like the palm trees, like they're really good at bending when the wind blows them. They don't break. They're able to bend because the roots are like grounded. Um, Gently flow through the turbulence. Life has the ability to shape you. Yeah, you're being shaped, creative ruler. You're being reshaped. So laugh, just laugh. Find some humor in it somehow. Find some humor, lighten your heart, let nothing steal your happiness. Yeah. It's one of those processes that it's just like it's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do. Just surrender to it and like go with the flow. And I'm gonna let you tap in, Naima.
Okay, so I don't know why I was called to pull this deck, but I'm gonna read the message from the book too. But I'm gonna
Mm.
show you the cards because I looked at it and I was like, whoa, I just saw like one word and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read from here. But I'm gonna show you the card that flipped out. And I'm gonna show you the card on the bottom of the deck. So the card that flipped out is card 15, and it says ego.
Ego.
This is
Mm.
also, if we look at the standard tarot, it's the devil card. And the devil card
Mm.
is ruled by Capricorn and Saturn energy. So it's all about the physical world, the material world.
Mm.
It's an illusion, dependency, and materialism. And as you can see, it's like an angel holding a cage with a bird, but the gate is open. So the
Mm.
bird can definitely fly out and not be trapped anymore, right? And so the other card that was on the bottom of the deck was the Eight of Air, which is the Eight of Swords. This
Mm.
is, remember, swords is air energy, so it's all about the mind, intellect, communication, and it said self-doubt, confusion, free will. Because with the Eight of Swords, like it's all about like I don't want to say it's all about like I don't want to say creating our own like prison, but it's like you can get out of it if you
Mm.
choose to, kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna read what this thing is. As soon as I saw, I was like, oh, let me just read it, and I'm gonna try not to be so like fast with it. Sometimes we can feel as though we are trapped. We may perceive ourselves as being locked into a life that we don't want or like. We often don't realize is that what we hold the key, oh, sorry. We don't realize is that we hold the key to this lock and could free ourselves by making different choices. We can release our hearts from our prison of unhappiness by accepting responsibility for where we are here and now. And by doing so, we can step back into our own power. And then there's an angel message here. It says, your entrapment is an illusion. You
Mm.
are a child of the divine with free will. If you are
Mm.
tired of your situation, choose to leave it and we will help you make that happen. To
Mm.
me, that's telling me to like tap in with your spirit team when you're ready
Mm-hmm.
to like wake up, not wake up, when you're ready to attack this shit head on and be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of feeling like this. Spirit team, what we got to do? What we doing? What's the game plan? Come on, give me a sign. Throw me
Yes.
some synchronicities, like throw me something so we can break this down and I'm done. So you just kind of I feel like what it's telling you is to like make a choice to stand up and take your power back from this
Yes.
situation.
Yes. Yes. That's where that fight can come in. That's
Mm-hmm.
where you can fight to be like, I'm getting out of this shit.
Yeah.
Like instead of like fighting against what's happening, fight with your spirit team, not against your spirit team. Because your
Mm-hmm.
spirit team is helping you to move through this. Don't
Yeah.
fight against them. They're helping you move. Don't yes, and get out of your head. Even at Eight of Swords, as soon as you said that, I was like overthinking. I heard overthinking. Out of
Yes.
your head and into your heart. Out of your head
Yes.
into your heart. Out of your head into your heart. One
I
of
love
my
that.
one of my clients said that I was telling them that, and they said that's an affirmation for them. Out of my head
It
into my
is.
heart. Out of my head, and I
I was
wanted to
just about
share
to
that
say
with you.
that. That is an affirmation. Heck yeah.
Affirmation. Yes, yes, yes. That's ooh. That's beautiful. And just like she said, the cage is open.
Yes.
The bird is in the cage, but the cage is open.
Yes.
You can literally get out at any second.
Yes.
It all depends on you, and the angel holding the cage.
Yes.
I don't mean to read the whole card for you, but the angel holding the cage, that's your spirit team. The light, the everything is
Yes.
sitting there holding the cage, like, sis, like looking in the cage, like, sis, what are you doing? Like, I opened the cage for you. What? Why are you still in there?
Yeah.
You coming out or not? Okay, well, I'll wait on you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, get out of the cage, sis. The cage
And
is your negative thoughts.
and I don't know if you remember watching the live that Sister Myra Moss did with Professor like a couple weeks ago. This is giving me that vibe, the energy of falling away from like the material things in the
Yes,
material realm and tap in more spiritually, because
yes,
that is exactly what that is. Because remember, the devil card rules the physical world.
yes.
So maybe your spirit team is asking you to step away from all the chatter of the material world that we live in. Like, it's so much chatter out there, and it's really hard, but we've got to learn
Mm-hmm.
to like tap in and not be so worried about that. I know it's easier said, but I think that's making me think of that video
That
with Sister
live, yeah.
Myra.
That was
That
a
live.
powerful live. Ooh, child, I need to watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creative Ruler, your spirit team letting you have it, honey. Yes, you got it, sis. You got it. You got it though. You
Yeah.
got it though. You gotta stop fighting though. You gotta stop fighting it. Fight smart. Smarter, not
Oh
harder.
yeah. Smarter,
Smarter,
not
not
harder.
harder. Okay, Armani. Let's see. Because you got a lot. A few days ago, I had a dream that I was in a two-story house. Okay, two. We got some numbers in here. On the outside of the back of the house was flooded above the window line, while the front of the house was a crate. While the front of the house was a crazy rainstorm. Eventually, I ended up on the roof with three people, and the house was almost completely flooded. Two empty boats came by, and we got in the second one. Oh
So
shit!
two is already an important number.
Yeah, after there were helicopters and lights, and the people in the back came down, and it seemed they were walking on water. Whew. Okay. You want to pull a card for this, Armani? What you think? I mean, Naima, what you think? Armani, your name
I kind of
in my
wanna.
head.
I kind
Oh,
of
you want to
wanna.
decode
I
it?
wanna decode, see
Okay.
what we can, and then do, and then pull. Because Armani, sorry, are you asking for like some clarity, like helping you with what you think this is about, or do you already have an idea what you think this is?
Yeah. You're welcome, Creative Ruler. You're very welcome.
Because when she says the back of the house was flooded, but the front of the house was a crazy rainstorm. It's something
Brainstorm.
about when you say front and back, I hear like conscious and subconscious.
Mm,
So it's like, so the rain,
mm.
something going on like crazy in your regular conscious, like the regular waking world. I don't know, that is affecting your subconscious. So like that whole like you know how we hear reprogramming our subconscious mind of all the shit.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
it's giving me like that kind of stuff, because the front of the house rainstorm is the programming, right, that we all see, and then the
Yes.
back of the house flooding
It's
is our
flooded.
subconscious mind being like
Yes.
messed
The actual
around.
the actual water. You know, something prompted me to share. Um, do you want us to decode it? Let me actually ask you for permission before we
Mhm.
dive into it. Um, but I was talking to you, Naim, about this too, because this came back to me. I'm gonna actually share something about this, but how the water holds memory,
Mhm.
and that the waters that are in our bodies that we're drinking, that's outside, that's in the clouds, all of that water has been here from the beginning of Earth. Like, do y'all understand that the memory that is in the water has been recycled since the beginning of time? So the water that's in your body is the same water that was here millions of years ago.
Mhm.
So when you're talking about a rainstorm and then the flooding in the back, you were on the second story, so you were on a higher level, number one, than the
Mhm.
first level. There being a rainstorm. So when I think about rainstorms, there's water, aka memory, aka downloads coming from the sky, coming from the clouds. So maybe in the front, maybe you're getting some type of download that's going to connect you with the collective of the water in your, like Naima said, in the subconscious, which is like
Mm.
all of the water. It's almost like you're getting drops of water. Like they always say, like how do they say, we're like one drop of water in the ocean
Yeah, like
of
a
everything, or
drop in
something
the
like that.
ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know, when I'm, what's coming to me is like these drops of water are giving you a connection to the collective of water that you have in your subconscious. um let's see, you ended up on the roof with three people, and the house was almost completely flooded. Two empty boats came by, and we got in the second boat. And then there were helicopters and lights, and people in the back came down, and it seemed like they were walking on water. Um,
People in
it's
the
giving, it's giving like Hurricane Katrina. Like I just remember when that hurricane came, and it was like water everywhere, and it was like picking people up and putting people in boats and just trying to like get them to safety. Um, yeah, this is where I need to pull a card.
So I feel like when you say eventually I ended up on the roof, right? So whatever this house means to you, like we have to kind of decode it and like think of like what is a house? A house is like safety, right?
Mm,
Like usually you think of your house, that's how I'm thinking of it. Like usually, unless that's not your situation, maybe the house is not a safe space for you. Either way, you end up on top of it. So if the house is a safe space for you, to me, this like is like a leveling up thing.
mm,
So it's like you're
mm,
being like pushed to level up spiritually. If the
mm-hmm,
house is not a safe space for you, then you got out right on time, right before it could like consume you. So
mm,
with the two boats coming, like you maybe you missed the first chance to get out, so maybe you missed the first opportunity to leave this unsafe place, or you
mm,
missed the first opportunity to really level up spiritually, but you got in the second one, so you good, you know. So it's like that's kind of
mm.
what I'm trying to see because we're not like having a real back to back conversation, so I can't. So I'm trying to say multiple like scenarios
Right,
that
right.
can happen. And then you said after there were helicopters with lights and people in black came down, and it seemed they were walking on the water. It's something about people in black. It's giving me like spirit team vibes, not bad people. Because remember, black just means like the unseen,
Yep,
right?
yep.
It's kind of like the
Unknown.
dark
Yep,
the
yep.
dark. So I'm not feeling like it's like malicious people. I think maybe
Hmm.
when you say helicopters usually come to rescue, right? They come to
Yes.
rescue people. So maybe that's a sign that your spirit team came because if they walk in the water, like they, they,
Right.
you
It's
know,
giving Jesus.
they got the juice. You know what I'm saying?
Right, 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 right.
So maybe it has
Yeah.
something to do with you leveling up spiritually or taking a stance on getting out of a unsafe space.
Space, yeah, like you're leaving the old house behind because it's, yeah, it's not like you said, it's not safe anymore, and it's
Yeah.
time for you to move on, and your spirit team is grabbing you. Yeah, you said in the dream the first boat seemed wrong to me.
Mhm.
So maybe you didn't catch the first boat because you needed to stay and learn more
Mhm.
from that situation. So maybe that's a so I pulled two cards. So I got one card, find balance. That's that two again. You
Mm.
kept you
Tell
kept
me about
seeing
that
those
too.
twos.
Yeah, tell me about that
That
too.
two, find balance. So you're finding some type of, and then as you see it in the circle, like there's a baby, there's a like a wedding ring, a rose, there's time, there's a book like knowledge, there's a cup, like there's all, yeah, polarity, heart healer. And then the other card I got was dreams coming true.
Mhm.
So it's giving like you're stepping into a space of your dreams coming true. Like you're finally leaving a situation where you are imbalanced, and you're stepping into a more balanced situation. Whatever you're pulling yourself into, whatever boat that you're going into is pulling you out of that imbalanced state and into a more balanced state. um and I keep hearing something about the waters. Like it's something very significant about it being a rainstorm and that like the back of the house was flooded. It's something about the waters that's like standing out to me. Like you're finding balance, duality. Like the heart healer said, there's polarity, there's duality, and then there's balance. There's something about
These tools,
what happened.
these tools
You
ain't
got
playing with you. What is it? And they flew out the deck. So you got the two of cups with me.
water,
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 followed by
two.
the eight of wands. With the death card on the bottom. And death card is all about like transformation, like
Transformation, yeah.
so like that with that being on the bottom of the deck, it's definitely letting us know that whatever this dream is about, it's about you like
Oh
transforming. Like
yeah.
something is ending, you're having a rebirth, you're transforming in something
Ecclesiastes.
new, whether it's a new path, something. Yeah, and these two of cups, and that's like he said, water. That's like partnership, maybe working with someone or balance or a partner with yourself. It could be something within that you need to
Facts,
work on.
facts.
But whatever it
And then like,
is, like there's some momentum behind it. The Eight of Wands is a because I'm thinking back to about the dream, So
yeah. And I just pulled a temperance card, but it came uh upside down. Fanatic, overstrain, craving, pressure, overreaction, too much discord, obsession, impatient, moody, inconsistent, hesitant. Um, so whatever you're leaving behind or whatever you're stepping out of, and look at the angel pouring. He's stepping in water. He
I
has
can't
his
see.
feet in water, 1 foot in water. He's pouring 2 cups. He has 1 cup in each hand and pouring water from one into the other. So maybe whatever you've been pouring your water, will pouring your emotions into, you're leaving that and you're pouring it into something that actually connects with you, what you're dreaming of, like your dreams come true. And even this dream come true card has a 9. Endings, like that's another endings,
Yeah.
another transformation. Like you're leaving something behind that you were putting your emotions into. And also here it has the sacral chakra on it. So emotions again. So it's
Water.
like
Yeah,
something with this
your water
water,
chakra.
like
Yeah.
all this water, something you've been putting a lot of your emotions into, you're leaving to fight to, and it's gonna bring you balance into whatever you're going into. Give us something, Armani, because I'm
Yeah.
curious. Like what you
Because
get
also because now that I'm looking at this too, like you have a water card and a fire card. It's you got a number two and then you got two cards. There's something
mm,
about like the polarity that Heart Healer said earlier. Like this is feminine energy, masculine energy. Water,
mm,
fire. They're two things. And then I was picking up on conscious and subconscious,
subconscious,
like with your
right.
dream. So there's something there about like duality and
Mm-hmm,
polarity that
mm-hmm.
you probably want to tap into and kind of get like a little bit more clarity on with that.
Or maybe finding balance between the two, that emotion and that like fire reaction. Like
Yeah,
I know you're Aries too, Armani, so maybe you're learning how to balance out your fire with more emotions and tapping more into your emotions to balance out that fire.
yeah.
um
That
to
sacral.
to
Did you say I didn't see? Because you were like, look, and I was like, I can't see
yeah.
nothing. But didn't you say sacral? You
Yeah,
said sacral chakra, right? I thought I
yeah,
heard
on the
water. Yeah.
temperance card it has the sacral
Okay.
chakra on it, and he's holding 2 cups. Yeah, I've been healing my sacral chakra and my large fibroid. And also in the life path 5 and my big 3 are all fire. Yeah, yeah. You're finding balance. You're finding how to balance out.
Yeah.
Working with your emotions is going to help you
You're working
balance
with that
out that
sacral,
fire.
yeah. Working
Yes,
with that
yes.
sacral chakra is gonna really, really help
Help
with
you.
help
Yeah,
with
you got to learn how to
that.
feel. You got to learn how to feel more and less. This kind of goes back to creative ruler. She was in the airspace learning how to feel. You're in the fire space learning how to feel more. This is all going back to the water. This is all about the waters. I feel like the waters are coming through for us lately. Like me and Naima has been talking about that, like the waters. Like I'm going through this like post nasal drip right now. It's like dripping in the back of my throat. That's why it's water coming dripping down, and it's my nose has been running. It's water. It's like coming out of my brain. It's just all of this water is coming. It's like a healing water to like balance people out.
Yeah,
So it kind of goes hand in hand with what everybody was talking about.
that's
So it's
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's these waters. Yeah, that dream was very uh
very
interesting.
layered.
Yeah,
It's
very
deep.
layered, very interesting.
It's deep. We only cut the surface. Like we haven't even sat with it. I bet you, like over the next couple of days, we gonna still be thinking about it. Like, oh, this is
A
what that
lot
means too. It could
more.
be this. It could
Yep.
be that. You know. So yeah,
The two dark figures, two boats, like twos everywhere,
yeah.
you know. And even
Maybe
those dark
tap
figures,
into that two
two
energy
energy.
because if you said you a five, yep, I'm a one. So five, like odd numbers are masculine.
Yes.
Remember, two is the feminine. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Yes.
Yo.
Balancing out that feminine energy.
Yeah,
Tapping
so
into
you
that
probably
feminine
need to
energy.
probably tap into that two energy and like see what else you can find on it, like doing some more research on the number two. Maybe if you can go back and see what Queenie said about like the how the two is shaped. I just feel
Yeah,
like
the
there's some
shape.
more stuff to learn about that too, because it's
See,
so
what's up?
prominent. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was something with emotions, but y'all gave me more
Oh,
clarity.
good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I'm
you got
so
to tap into those
happy.
emotions. Yeah, you definitely got to tap into those emotions. Naima, when you got to go?
Uh, 4:30. What time is it? Ooh,
It's 7:37. Yeah, you 7:37. Yeah, all right, y'all.
wow. Shut up.
Yeah, for you
See,
be
this is
late.
this is why
You
look,
got
y'all. We
lost in the
about to
sauce.
get the streaming. We about to get the streaming, and I can see the clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
At
and
the
see
same
me
time,
and see everybody. All right, y'all.
this
It
was
was
good. I love this. This is so dope. Like, this is giving me. Okay, I'm gonna share this because for the longest, before I get out of here,
yeah.
for when I first started my spiritual journey. One of my favorite decks, I will probably bring them out on here, but I would always get this card that says hold the space, hold the space. I was like, what are y'all talking about? This was like 3 4 years ago. I don't know
Mm,
what hold the space is,
mm,
but today, and like since we have been doing this is what that means. Like we are here
mm.
to hold the space. Like that's part of my role is to hold the space for you all and for
Yes,
Justin and for myself. Like this whole little
yes,
bubble, like that we are creating is holding the space.
yes.
So I learned something new about myself today.
Yeah. Holding space, safe space. Yes.
You're
Yes, yes.
welcome. Y'all
Yes,
are
y'all
so
welcome.
welcome.
This is so much fun. Yes, yes, yes. Watch the live. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it'll
post it
be
in a minute.
saved. It'll be
Yeah,
Justin is the creator or the starter. I don't know what
yeah,
to call it, but it
yeah.
will for sure. He'll get it to me way later, but he will have it on his page like right away.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm gonna try to send it to you tonight. I know I'll be late about it.
No, it's okay. No rush. I be wanting to load it up to YouTube anyway because I just feel like for me, I have to once you send it to me, I have to delete it so I don't have that
I
taking up the storage on my phone.
know my storage running out too. Fucking iPhone.
Yeah. All right. Love
All right,
y'all.
love y'all. We'll see y'all next
Okay.
week. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Let me can't end it.